the final figure in the genocide wave, X Factor Cyclops, based off of X Factor issue 1, is finally here. I cannot believe we have this entire set at long last. This has to be one of my favorite waves of X-Men figures since we got the Warlock wave back during the Return of X-Men Legends era. Now, we are big Cyclops fans here at Power of X-Men, and he's one of those characters that if you have read the comic books you could trace an overarching story for the character that began in the 12 when he sacrificed himself to save Nate and got possessed by Apocalypse, all the way through to, you could argue maybe the story ends in Avengers versus X-Men, but I think it goes very past that to X-Men Disassembled, around that era when he comes back from his Death of X phase where he died during Inhumans versus X-Men. So I think the character gets dismissed so much by so many people who haven't really read all of the stories or haven't pieced together all the stories. Cyclops is just a jerk, and he's a toxic Summers brother, and I'm like, no, there's so much more to the character. And, it has scared me in the past, if we're going to be completely transparent here when discussing Cyclops, that when Bo DeMaio has been out there saying that when he was drafting X-Men in 97, that there was someone in the production team who was like, are you sure you want to make Cyclops look like a hero? He's such a jerk. And I'm like, are the people who even work behind the scenes buying into this narrative? Oh, it makes me so nervous. And I think I think Jed MacKay is a fantastic writer. But there have been some lines in the Jed MacKay X-Men series that I've sort of cocked my head at, where he has said something like, Cyclops has said something like, I can unleash the Juggernaut and destroy cities at will, and if you do anything to me, my wife, who's a phoenix, will return to Earth and won't be too happy. I'm like, that doesn't sound like the Cyclops that we all know and love. So, look at this figure. The accessories. They have given us such great accessories for this wave. This new blaster effect. Look at that. It looks so great. We've seen this part before, but this is like right there. I'm always going to think of this when he blasted Mr. Sinister at the end of Inferno. What a great looking figure, Familia. So far, what a great looking figure. But anyways, Cyclops gets dismissed, and we've talked about this endlessly on the podcast. Cyclops gets dismissed as being an asshole for what happened with Madeline Pryor. And for those of you who don't know, that in X Factor 1, where this figure is based off of, in X Factor 1, Cyclops gets a call from Warren basically telling him that Jean is alive, that they found Jean alive at the bottom of the Jamaican Bay. She was in a cocoon. The Jean that died on the moon as Dark Phoenix was actually just the Phoenix Force that had duplicated Jean. That has since, of course, been retconned. And Jean is alive and well and here in New York City waiting to be reunited with Scott. And Scott says to Madeline, because Madeline's upset, saying, you better not leave if that's something to do with the X-Men. Scott Summers, if you walk out of the store, then don't ever bother coming back, kind of deal. And Cyclops just says, I'm sorry, Maddie. And he leaves, and he goes and forms X Factor with the original 5 X-Men. So here's my counter argument to this. What Cyclops did to Madeline was absolutely terrible. That is horrible. I mean, he could have gone to see Jean alive and been like, hey, I got married while you were dead. We all thought you were dead. And again, in story, it was a couple years, I believe they say, when they find her at the bottom of the Jamaican Bay. They're like, it's been several Christmas years past since we've seen Jean Grey, Marvel Girl. So people moved on after you died. That's sadly just the reality of life. But my counter argument to this would be, listen, Cyclops at a young age, he was on a flight with his family when the Shi'ar abducted his parents and he was separated from his brother and they were put in the foster system, not to be seen ever again. Cyclops had gotten hit in the head, had experienced severe head trauma. And when he finally made his way to an orphanage, he was being stalked by Mr. Sinister, this creepy geneticist who was obsessed with his genetic makeup, was stalking him, stealing DNA samples of him, cloned his dead lover after he saw his dead lover die on the moon, created this clone that was only sent to him to produce his offspring, and then actually Gene was alive at the bottom of the Jamaican Bay this entire time. I mean, listen, I'm not excusing his behavior, but there is context for it. So, I think Cyclops for a long time suffered very heavily from the Summers Gray family drama. But I think once Jean dies at the end of New X-Men and Scott is with Emma and we enter the Astonishing X-Men and the Messiah Complex era, we really see him become a badass leader. And after the witch curses mutant kind and says no more mutants, it's Cyclops who really wants to make sure that the mutants survive. Xavier's not a leader of the X-Men during this time. Jean is dead. Wolverine is just Wolverine. I mean, of course, we get Wolverine and the X-Men in the Jean Grey School, of course, don't get me wrong. However, the one who sets up to save mutant kind is Cyclops. Those are just my feels. And that is the context for this figure. We're of course also getting X Factor Jean. Now, I liked the white and blue Cyclops costume that comes down later in the X Factor run. Look at him there. That's my favorite Cyclops with like his hair out. They have a Mafex. We've got a Marvel Legends for that. I was gonna pull that Legends, that X Factor Legends, but I was like, my Age of Apocalypse Cyclops is actually back in Hoboken. So even if I pull all the ones I have now that I can find, I'm not gonna have it completed. So I kept him, stored away, but we got a Mafex figure off of that Cyclops X Factor costume as well. Wow. He looks okay. Look at that smirk. That is a great smirk. Oh, that is such an arrogant little smirk. How could you not love Scott Summers? But I'll tell you, my first impression off the bat is the paint deco. I don't know if it picks it up here. Look, you can see how the blue is bleeding through. It's, again, the face sculpt looks amazing, and the other head looks good. Everyone in this wave got an extra head except for Marrow, the character who arguably needed it the most. Because Marrow, again, as I said in the previous review, Marrow could have had... kind of hard to get this head on. Marrow can have an angry head and the bone crown that she is known for. That is very iconic for her. Okay. So just like the other Cyclops figure, you can just insert that power effect there. And now we're going to put in this new power effect. Boom. And it just slides in right there. Okay, that took me longer than it should have, but listen, I'm not the brightest crayon in the box, okay? So there it is. Wow, that looks so cool on camera. Wow, that looks really cool on camera. Here he is. Cyclops from X-Men Revolution. They're fighting. That is cool. Wow. That is a really cool power effect. Oh, it slid off a little bit. Very cool power effect. I love this head more. The one with the little arrogant smirk. However, this is really cool. This is awesome. The face looks amazing. Look at that face. Look at his teeth. Wow, look at his tongue. That's incredible. Look at that tongue right there. The heads are amazing. The heads, based on the heads alone, I would put this in the top. But we have to consider the rest of the body, which, you get the butterfly joints, and it's a fine body. Let me see as compared to the other ones. Is it the same one from the previous Cyclops, the Astonishing Cyclops? It looks the same to me. Do not hold me to it. I once said, oh, this is practically the same, and someone was like, no, actually, the feet were different. I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. It looks to be the same as the Astonishing Astonishing Cyclops, at least close enough. Definitely an improvement from this body mold, which, this Jim Lee from that Warlock wave, this Jim Lee Cyclops, I know it's a little messy. His like the boot cuffs fall everywhere, and this part kind of came undone. His harness came undone, but I love this one so much. And it was one of the first times that Cyclops could actually point his finger to his visor like that. It would be so cool if we could get like that. Look at that. I guess we do have the Jim Lee Cyclops. I'm trying to find that you can put this in. Huh. Does that fit? Yeah. The X-Men 97 one, it doesn't fit as well, but there's the X-Men 97 Cyclops, and it kind of goes in, falls a little bit. Here is another Cyclops figure, obviously with his Revolution outfit. We love Cyclops. We are big Cyclops stans here at Power of X-Men. So you can see how he kind of holds up to the other Cyclopses that I pulled. Yeah, look at that. Just so you can get like a clear idea. He's a fun figure. He is really fun. I don't know if I would say he is the best one in the wave. Again, the face sculpts are amazing, but I wouldn't say he is the best one in the wave. Yeah, look at that. Look at this bouquet of Cyclops figures. Man, we have a lot of Cyclops figures. Don't forget Dark Phoenix Cyclops right there. He's like, "What? What's up?" Right there. Look at all of those Cyclops. And there's more. There's, again, like I said, there's the X Factor Cyclops. There's the original X Factor variant Cyclops and the Toy Biz Cyclops, as well as Age of Apocalypse. So a couple other Cyclopses that I haven't pulled yet, but maybe I'll pull for a photo op. But yeah, not much to say on this figure. Yeah, look at that. Look at those joints right there. I know, like, I've never been one of those collectors who have been like, oh, that's a bad paint job. Until the Marvel Legends Hellcat, where her boots were just so, I mean, it was, her legs were terrible. You could see that they used the blue from their boots as a base for that, and they were painting her costume over it, and it bled. This, I will say, is just as distracting, right? Look at that. Look at his shoulders there. I mean, again, if it was just a one-off, maybe you could be a little bit more forgiving, but they're asking us to build an entire team around this. That's what's key here. An entire team, right? So we have Jean without her boots. That's a Target exclusive. I think Angel's a pretty good character. Angel's a pretty good character. I'll throw up some photos on the Instagram comparing them together. But he was a deluxe figure. Pretty good figure, but he was a deluxe figure. Yeah, you see, this slides in really nicely for the X-Men 97. It's kind of wobbly. I felt like I was going to break something. All right. So I have all the figures. I will give my rankings on all of them, and we will do a review of Genocide. I left some of his parts back in New York. I did not even think to bring them. But once I get back to New York in a few weeks, I'll do a review on Genocide. But I'll do a ranking of these figures in the next few days from my least favorite to my most favorite. Familia, what do you think? Tell us, what do you think of Marvel Legends X Factor Cyclops? He is technically number two. Technically number two because we have Angel. Now we have him. Now we're going to also be getting Jean. That leaves Beast and Iceman. And I really do want Iceman as kind of like a cube. We've never gotten a cube Iceman. We've gotten Age of Apocalypse Iceman. We've gotten Bald Iceman. But we've never gotten Iceman as a cube. And I could be really excited for that. We did get a retro card Iceman a couple years ago with the belt. But he's very distinct on this cover of X Factor #1. Pew, pew. Is he a must-have? Well, for this power effect, I'm going to have to say yes. Yes, this is an awesome power effect. Maybe he will come down later down the line. Oh man, can you imagine if they did a Phoenix 5 Cyclops, right? The unreleased variant with this power effect. Oh, yeah, that would be amazing. He actually kind of, even like as I'm holding him, it does feel like it is a Phoenix 5-ish looking Cyclops. I mean, obviously the colors are wrong, but He looks like he's kind of flying with blasting that effect. Wow. Wow, look at that. Listen, I'm sorry for the paint deco. Pretty standard body, but that fell. But man, the face and the power effect, it's excellent. All right, Familia, drop your feels below. Slide into our DMs at Power of X-Men and let me know. Again, I'm just so fascinated by the tech technology. All right, we'll see you later.